Manuel Arnaut, Head of Editorial Content of Vogue Arabia. Welcome to the Luxury Communications Council. First, I want to say congratulations. I mean, everything that you have built over the last however many years. And last year, of course, the title moved over to be owned and operated by Condé Nast in the region. I just have a few statistics that I'd like to share because they are incredibly impressive. So, firstly, Vogue Arabia has reportedly reached around 400 million people worldwide since its digital first launch in 2016. The print circulation is 35,000 per issue, but there's a monthly reach of 3.2 million across digital social platforms, and that goes across, of course, Saudi, UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, and the wider Arab world. In particular, Vogue Arabia's Instagram audience is 1.7 million, and some social posts actually reach up to 18 million views, which obviously is also incredibly impressive. Manuel, I'd like to take you back to the very beginning of your journey. Can you recall your first encounter with luxury or fashion, and I guess the thing that really inspired you to want to be part of this world?
Actually, I was kind of like of a late bloomer in terms of fashion. I was terrible in school. I never liked to study. I was always the naughty one in the principal's office. So I really didn't think that I had a talent for anything in particular. But then I found that writing was really the thing that I was good at. And then when I was thinking about where do I want to write, who do I want to write for, what do I want to do, and I was like, oh, Vogue, it has to be at Vogue. So it was kind of like of an innocent choice. I don't have that moment that I saw someone wearing something on the street and I was like, oh yes, I want to work in fashion. It was kind of like of a progression of my identity. And I was lucky enough that when I finished my degree in journalism to be able to start my internship at Vogue Portugal, where I started as an intern. I did all the evil tasks of having to carrying the bags for the shoots and to put tape on the bottom of the shoes so that they wouldn't scratch and we can give it back to the stores when we had to borrow them from stores. So it was really not planned, but once I got into it, I was very passionate about it. I always say that we have a very hard job and working in media and working in fashion. People sometimes think that it's not a real job, you know, because they see us going to parties and they see us going to events and to sit in Fashion Week. But it is really competitive and it's really something that you need to be passionate about if you want to survive. So once I was in that hamster wheel, you know, I was like fully on it and very passionate about it.
And you've been at Condé Nast for a number of years, all of your career, is it?
So I always worked with Condé Nast magazine, so I did Vogue Portugal for 6 years, then I was editor of GQ, then I moved to Dubai to launch Architectural Digest, and then I was with a licensing partner for I think 7 years or 8, and now I moved to Condé Nast. So in total, it was actually funny because when I got my job at Vogue Arabia, the New York Times came out with an article, Condé Nast veteran Manuel Arnaut. I was like, veteran? What do they mean?
It's outrageous.
But yeah, and I was 33, so I didn't really feel like a veteran. But yes, but in total, yes, I'm a little bit of a Condé Nast dinosaur.
And looking back at your career so far, what experiences have really shaped the way you lead Vogue Arabia now?
Well, I have to tell you that being Portuguese, I think that really helped in the type of management that I do. I'm used to work with extremely low budgets, and sometimes my colleagues from US and UK, they don't understand, you know, how we make things happen. So I think that coming from a country where there's really very small budgets and, you know, very small scale, it really helps you to be creative and to be creative with the money that you have and to really to be focused. So definitely that. I also did gymnastics when I was younger, and I do feel that doing sports and especially if you are at a certain level, it also helps you to build some stamina that at the end it's going to be very important for the work that you do. Once again, I tell this to all my friends that have children. They're like, oh, you're so bad in school. It's terrible. I said, it's fine. I was the worst in school, and I think that from my class, I'm the one with the best job. You know, so it's all about, I think, how you build yourself growing up and how your parents make you focusing on other stuff that doesn't really need to be studying. But definitely sports and coming from Portugal, I think that were the things that really helped me to build a successful career in fashion.
Well, absolutely. And can I ask, do you have one particular moment that's sort of the proudest moment of your career?
Proudest moment of my career.
Big
I have
question.
to tell you that when I was younger, and I used to read American Vogue, and I'll be like, oh my God, one day I wish that I would meet Anna Wintour and that I would sit with her. And sometimes I'm like at the Ritz, and it's very funny how we have our meetings because it's all a little bit secret, you know. So we are called into a meeting, and you go to the Ritz, and the full restaurant is empty, and Annie's there in the middle with the sunglasses, and I'm like, oh my God, my life is a movie, you know.
Yeah.
So these are the moments where that sometimes I do have to pinch myself, and that I'm proud that I reached some sort of like leadership role at Condé Nast, which was always my goal, and that I have as my direct boss, Anna Wintour.
Well, we'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. But I wanted to ask, when you were first appointed, did you have a clear vision of how you wanted to take Vogue Arabia forward, or did it more sort of crystallise as you went?
I had, yes, an idea of what I wanted to do, but it is something that always changes, and like the core was there. I knew that I wanted to speak about regional fashion. I knew that I wanted to showcase to the world the beautiful things that happen here in the Middle East. When I told my parents that I was coming to Dubai and I was going to work for Architectural Digest, my mom was like, oh my God, and the war, and you know. So coming from Europe, there's a really a lot of preconceived ideas about the region. So being here, I really wanted to showcase that we have so many talented people. Also, the role of women in society. It's something that I was always very passionate about to speak about in the magazine, and to show that the women in the region are powerful. This now looks like such a cliche, girl power, but they are in leadership positions. They are taking the decisions. Look at the government of Dubai, where I think that or more than half of the ministers are women. So fashion, of course, the social nuances of the region, I was very interested. But then how you bake the cake, you kind of like add the ingredients as you go. So even today, we still have the same goals and objectives, and of course, communicate all our international partners to our audience. But the way that we build that narrative, we have to adapt and to listen to the market and to what is happening, and this is how we progress.
And thinking about how Vogue Arabia fits sort of within the wider portfolio, what would you say are the sort of main, I guess, differences or contrasts between your edition and the sort of wider global ones?
So first of all, we are the only edition globally that it's printed in 2 languages, in both English and Arabic. It's the only country or region that has that privilege. We do, I mean, the Arab world is different from any part of the world, so we have a different language in terms of fashion. There's modest fashion that we have to speak about. We have to speak about high jewelry, which is a very important segment for us at Vogue Arabia. I remember that when I was doing Vogue Portugal, it was in the biggest and most complicated economic moment in my country, and I remember that my editor at the time, she was like, don't put very big stuff because people are going to be very upset with us. Here it's a little bit the opposite. We show the best of the best. We show the most luxurious, the most unique, the things that were crafted by amazing artisans. So we have that privilege to really showcase in the most amazing, glamorous, and imaginative what's going on in the world. So in the world of fashion. So I would say that we are definitely slightly more glamorous than some of the editions, just because every country has a different style and aesthetics, and the language, and of course those cultural nuances that are different.
And you mentioned Anna, of course. We'd love to know how you sort of balance, I guess, that sort of local perspective with that global leadership and global vision. How does that work?
I mean, it's a conversation that we have every month. Anna is not sitting in the office with us telling us what to do. She's just more helping us to for all the Vogues to be aligned. But she's not telling me do this, do that. She really trusts the local editors, and yeah, it's more about communicating. But Condé Nast really wants us to speak locally. They really want us to feature local content. They really want us to, I mean, since we launched for 1 year, we didn't have any syndicated cover. So most of the most important pieces of content are focused in the Middle East. But of course, we are part of an international American company, and we have all to communicate and to be all in the same line of thought.
And presumably there are some pieces from here that then go viral around the world. I was hearing about this particular Kris Jenner cover, which is really beautiful. That must have been a really exciting moment when that went viral.
Yeah, this was an exciting moment, but it was also a cover that had some backlash. The thing is, doing a magazine is kind of like making a puzzle, you know? And some moments and some covers you have to take the risk, and you need to accept that there's a risk. Especially about this cover, people are like, oh my God, you're going to have backlash. Yes, we were going to have backlash, and it's not the first time that I'm doing a cover, so I know exactly what are the pros, the cons, what's going to go well. Sometimes I can even write the comments that we are going to have on Instagram. But the thing is, you need these moments. It cannot be everything by the book. It cannot be everything vanilla. And this cover that we did have bad comments on social media was also the September cover from all the Vogues, all the Condé Nast publications that had the biggest impact on the media. So we had Nermini is here. She was very busy those days. She was like, Manuel, another story. I think that we had around 100 clippings globally, including the New York Times, the Standard, any single possible media that you could think of wrote about this cover in a positive way. So you need always to assess the risk and to understand on the slate of the content that you do, if there's one that you can be a little bit more risky. So we were very naughty with this one. The next one we were very good and by the book.
I like it, okay. Naughty and nice. Okay, perfect. It's such an interesting time for this region, and I feel more so than ever. So last in October, many of you were here. Sitting in your chair was actually Morel, who's the president of Kering for the group, who I'm sure you know very well. And you know, we were very much talking about how you know, even just looking at the statistics, it's the Middle East that has the most Kering growth. Above all markets, it's the only market really having any sort of double-digit growth. And you know, I feel that you must get the question a lot. You know, why the Middle East? Why now? When you are talking to brands and looking to sort of invest in this market, what do you tell them? Is it sort of more about the financials, or how do you broach that subject?
First of all, I would invite them to go to our malls, to go to Mall of Emirates, to go to Dubai Mall, and to see really how people are. I said Mall of Emirates because of you guys. You see that I'm paying attention? To go to the malls in general, okay, let's put it this way. And to really to see how people behave and the traffic that we have in our malls. I think that I'm blessed to be able to travel the world, and I think that our mall experience is really the most elevated, and I don't remember even in China, in US, to have an experience like this, plus the amount of people that are actually shopping. And we have the biggest boutiques in the world, and still you have to wait and you have to queue. Now I think that you cannot queue, but there's people there and you have to wait for your turn. So we are thankfully in an economy that it's very healthy. Also, I think that what's very interesting here in Dubai, and I always tell this to brands, and we also do that at Vogue in a more discreet way, but we try to target the pockets of audience. So of course that we speak to the Gulf Arab reader, but there's also the Indian community. There's also the Russian community. So there's so many possibilities and so many people that you can speak to, but of course that you have to trim your offers, the way that you communicate, you need to choose the right talents. So there's a lot of diversity, there's a lot of business to be made. And also I feel that now people here arrive to, they are sophisticated in the way that they purchase. They want quality products, they want the best. So for brands that are focused on selling the best and things that are done in the most amazing way, people do value. They value and they understand why it's expensive, you know, and they are okay with the fact that it's expensive. So I think that this combination is really, I mean, the brands have the numbers. This is just theory. The numbers are there. So this is a reflection of how brands are doing so well here.
Yeah, it is amazing to see how sort of shopping is a leisure destination out here in the same way, sort of, well, unlike many other markets where it's sort of, you know, it may be a necessity for some, it may be a pleasure for some, but it's just not the same in terms of sort of how many hours are, exactly as you say, spent in these glorious malls. You mentioned you're obviously talking to many different sort of dissections of your different audience, but of course, you know, in Europe we have British Vogue, we have Spanish, French, you know, they're all dissected. How do you even possibly go about talking to all of these different cultures and communities simultaneously? There must be different mindset, behaviors, you know, traditional restrictions, etc. How does that work?
Yeah, well, we are not the only Vogue that aggregates more than one country. There are 3 Vogues, one for the Baltic countries. Yes. There's also Vogue Latin America, so for the full, it's Mexico and Latin America. And there's another one that I don't remember because I didn't finish my coffee yet. But it's 3 Vogues that have...
Scandinavia as well.
Scandinavia, exactly. Yeah. So it was Vogue Scandinavia. Thank you. I mean, yes, there are differences between the countries, but there's also a lot of things in common. And we do have 11 editions, so in every edition we try to focus and to target different audiences and the different countries, even in the way that people dress. Sometimes we do something thinking about the woman in Lebanon. Other times we do something thinking about the woman in Saudi. So we really do try to have that balance. I give you now an example for our Ramadan issue that will come out in February. We shot different royal families of the Gulf at home in different countries, and we have multiple covers shot in multiple countries. So we really try to make that balance. And then, of course, we have our website and social media that has infinite possibilities and that we really can dissect all the countries, speak about so many. There's no limit of space. Mm-hmm. So we always try to find a balance, and it really works, and for the brands also, they really love to have this proposition and this Vogue that is unified, and it has been working really well.
Speaking of brands, do you feel that there needs to be more done, I suppose, in terms of how brands approach all these different markets simultaneously? Because, you know, many times we hear from Europe, there is sort of this more sort of pan-Middle Eastern approach.
I think that what sometimes I feel that brands are not doing right, it's that there's a little bit of a standardization of the way that the content is being produced. So for instance, the Ramadan campaigns, okay, it's like an avalanche of Ramadan campaigns, and they are all a bit the same, you know, with the same protagonists. So I think that it's important to make an effort to go deeper, to think in a more authentic way. It's exactly like the magazines. The brands also need to communicate and to approach the different audiences using the local talents, working with local teams, using the right messengers to convey their messages for these markets. Mm.
And also shine a light on new talent and, you know, educate, I guess, the wider audience is important.
It is complicated because we also live in a part of the world where it's not as easy to get talent, also for cultural reasons. Not everyone wants to be featured, and then the people that want to be featured are a little bit used and abused and are everywhere. So we do need to put effort on it, to finding the right messengers for the right messages. But thankfully we cover 22 countries and there's so much talent. So
yeah, exactly. And I'd love to sort of shine a spotlight on some of those now. Obviously, you know, there's some type of content that consistently resonates, but are there particular stories that you feel are sort of most urgent, or maybe even themes that are really, really relevant to Vogue Arabia right now? I have a few examples which I wanted to share. There we are.
Okay.
Can you tell us about this one?
Yeah, I mean, so the stories that really speak to people are stories, things that have to do with what's happening in the world, with, of course, that we are not a political magazine, but themes that are related to empowerment, to politics. So these are topics that are quite important. And also, once again, when you speak about the topic with some authenticity and from a different angle. This cover with the First Lady of Lebanon is a great example, where we did one cover where she, yes, looks like the First Lady that you expect her to be, But then on the second cover, we asked her if we could go to the neighborhood where she was born. And actually, that building is the building where she used to live. And if she could be shot with her neighbors. These are her real neighbors that knew her mom. She's wearing jeans and she's wearing sneakers. And this was a moment that for me was very special because it's that importance of authenticity and doing something that it's different. There's a very, very nice video that I invite everyone to check with the neighbors, and they are crying and they are all clapping and she's arriving to the neighborhood. So it was really nice and really a privilege to be able to work on the first big media appearance of the First Lady before she went to speak in the United Nations and before the Pope came to Lebanon.
Amazing. Gosh, what a brilliant idea as well, taking her back to her roots. I've got a couple more examples, but feel free to deviate.
So this one was our first big international scandal.
Oh, great. We love a scandal. Keep your team busy.
And this cover also shows how the content resonates differently in different parts of the world. This cover was done in June 2018 when women were able to start driving in Saudi Arabia. And what we've done now, you see royals in the magazines and the ladies from the Gulf, they are okay to be in the magazine. When we did this cover in 2018, you could not travel to Saudi, you could not get a visa, and it was absolutely impossible to feature a female royal from, I think, at any royal family from the Gulf in the cover of a magazine. So, first of all, if you look, she's wearing high heels. She's on a red convertible in the desert in Jeddah. The veil is a little bit kind of like falling off. She's wearing leather gloves. In this specific month, and the daughter of the King of Saudi, this was an atomic bomb. I think that there's the only way that I can describe this. It was an atomic bomb. Then, what was interesting about it? Local audience. Amazing, fantastic. I had people from Saudi, friends from Saudi, crying because this was such an important moment for the women locally that were able to drive, and to have the daughter of the king making this statement. Because a lot of women, yes, you could drive, but the parents didn't want them to be the first ones. But when this came out, it's like, okay, if the daughter of the king can drive, we can all drive. So locally, yes, and then we were absolutely destroyed in the international media. Where are the activists that were arrested? Vogue Arabia is completely tone deaf, and that escalated. But once again, it was one of those. This one, to be honest, I didn't expect it to be so problematic, I have to tell you. But it's one of those covers that still people talk about, and that after the storm, I still think that we made the right decision.
Yeah, great. That's beautiful as well. Okay, and then there's a couple of more examples.
So, in terms of like content that resonates, Jihan is laughing because when I was with Jihan on a press trip, and I tell Jihan, I'm going to do a cover with Samir Ghanem. She was like, what? She's like, it might be your last cover. But it was not my last cover, thankfully. So two things that are very important in these two covers. With Samir Ghanem, people also react very well with things that speak about nostalgia, the things that speak about culture, speaks about traditions. And Samir Ghanem is one of the most iconic Egyptian comedians. This was, I think that it was during Ramadan or close to Ramadan. He had, we did a happy issue. I don't really remember if it was Ramadan or not, but he had a very famous character called Fatuta. It was like a miniature clown that used to wear a green suit. We went to his house. It was crazy work. We went to his closet. We found the green suit. We made him wear the green suit on the shoot. And people loved it. Why? Yes, I have to tell you that it is a bit of a bizarre cover. And if I was not living in the Arab world, I would say this editor lost his mind to mix Samir Ghanem with Adriana Lima. But it's this unexpected and this nostalgia appeal that people really love. And then, very, very important, we were the first Vogue globally to have a cover with a veiled model. And this was also something that was bombastic on the news. But for me, it's just, I was just surprised how this didn't happen before. So in a way, I was really happy that we were able to be the first ones to have this statement, to put a veiled model on the cover of Vogue. But once again, it was unfortunate that it took so long.
Yeah, okay, great. We also want to talk about your sort of really amplifying Arabian voices. it's part of your sort of vision for the magazine, as we heard. How does that sort of work in practice within the magazine and your wider ecosystem?
I mean, it's not just about the covers that we do, it's also about the content that we produce on digital, even going to the shows of the Arab designers doing Fashion Week. It's very important. Sometimes I go to the shows and I'm the only editor there, which for me it's a little bit strange. But being there, supporting, introducing people, introducing designers to retailers, putting the spotlight on incredible women from the region. This is really an ongoing thing that we do. It's not something that we do this month and we don't do in the next month. We also created a really cool program called By Arab Designers, where we did this huge campaign with the biggest stars in the region, where they are all telling people to buy Arab designers. So we just do that in everything that we do.
And in terms of sort of wider talent pool, presumably you're putting a spotlight on actresses, actors, artists.
I would say that 80% of the work that we do is focusing on regional stars and celebrities and talking about local themes. Mm-hmm. If people want to read about Madonna, but yes, we can also do it from time to time, because the consumer here, I also don't like people to think, oh, you just need to speak about Arab stuff. People from the region, they travel the world. They go to London, they go to Paris, they want to know the best of the best. But yes, we do focus more on regional talent.
Can you tell us a little bit about this cover?
So this cover was actually a really important project for us. You guys know the movie about Palestine, about the girl that died inside the car. That I think that is now on the run for the Oscars. Saja Kilani is the star of that movie. So we decided to speak about this topic and to put the focus on Palestine and on this actress that is kind of like of a new talent. And then we thought, how are we going to make this more interesting? Once again, to speak about the topic with authenticity and with authority. So we thought that Plesty Alakad, which was one of the journalists that was covering the invasion of Palestine, we thought that she was really the right person to have a conversation with Saja. And I like that they are two young girls under 30, so to give also a fresh perspective and really to have our audience to relate to them through their age, through their experiences. So we had this cover where it was basically a conversation between both.
Fascinating. And do I guess it feels like, you know, you really are trying to start conversations and have real cultural impact.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, of course, that at Vogue we love shoes, we love bags, we love restaurants, but we do a magazine for people that most importantly have a brain and that like to learn about the world and that have critical thinking. So yes, of course, that fashion is super important for us. It's at the core of what we do. But even the way that we treat fashion, we just don't do like red, you know. We explain why it's red. And this is just a continuation of that, to really to produce content that makes people think, opens discussions, and that really represents the region on a global stage.
I was interested to hear that you were the only edition actually to send representatives from the region to Vogue World in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that?
So Vogue World is Vogue's most important event that takes over, that happens always in a different location, and it has different themes. This year the theme was this year or last year? Oh my God, this was this year still, right? This year. 2025, so last year, sorry. Because I'm already working on the September cover of this year, so I'm a little bit confused. It was all about cinema and the link between cinema and fashion. And I don't think that it would make any sense, especially when we live in a region where cinema is such an important part of our industries, not to send a real representative of our industry to Hollywood. And we selected Mona Zaki, that was the star of the Kulthum movie. And it was the best possible decision because the movie is absolutely sublime and Mona is such a class act and a perfect ambassador for the region in the Global Vogue event. The
global, exactly. And there's one more cover that I just wanted to... Actually, did you want to quickly talk about this piece?
This was also a cover. This is not the right slide, but the real cover has the logo on top of this Tatria's piece. This was also something that we did for Palestine when really everything started to happen. we wanted to create a statement, but once again, Vogue is not, we are not Time magazine, so we had to think of a way to communicate our support to Palestine in a way that felt elevated and Vogue, and with the support being there, but not with, not with a bomb scene or something. So we thought of doing a cover with tatrees from different parts of Palestine. We actually spoke with a specialist that helped us to build this piece of fabric that really doesn't exist, because usually each region has one motive, but we did something with the different motifs from the different regions, and this was also like a huge talking point, and people loved it. And I was very proud that also our leadership allowed us to do this statement, because once again we are part of an international organization, and it's not Manuel's magazine, it's a Condé Nast magazine. So this was something that I had to discuss with Anna, to discuss with the leadership, explain what we were doing, and to really to be allowed to do something like this made me proud to work at Condé Nast.
Yeah, I can imagine. Lovely, great. Thank you for sharing that. We've got a few more covers here, which we won't go into. This one, however.
This one, I almost lost my hair organizing this cover.
Even if you don't know the background of this cover, that is something that makes you stop in your tracks.
Yeah, I mean, it's also one of the important things when you are producing content, and that is rule number one. It's the timing. You need to speak about the topics before anyone else, and you need really to try to produce your messages in the most powerful way. Mona Zaki was the star of the Kulthum movie, so it was also the opening of the Egyptian Grand Museum. So we put the dots together, and to speak about this important movie and about the opening of the museum, we thought of bringing Mona Zaki to the Egyptian Grand Museum to shoot the cover there. It's actually really cool, because the cover on the left, it's actually, there's a very famous picture of Kulthum in front of the Sphinx, also with the profile. So we tried to do the same shot. And then the earring that Mona is wearing is a replica of one of the earrings that Kulthum used to wear in her concerts. So there are many layers and details that made this cover special to us. But I see that there's people here from Egypt. Producing in Egypt sometimes has its challenges, but we survived. So, yeah.
Oh, well, what a result, and it really you ended the year on a very high note with that cover. Just coming back to I guess the more specifics of the magazine, were there any particular contributors that you were very proud to bring to the table last year?
Yeah, so we at Vogue, one of the things that it's also important is that we really work with top writers and top journalists, and of course top photographers, and this is something that it's very important for us at Vogue. It's to produce, but really to produce with people that we admire. Ala Gorani, who was a CNN news anchor, is now our monthly contributor, so every month she writes a column for the website. This is something that I was really proud of, because it really shows the authority that we have in the region. And once again, yes, you can go and read about the nail polish colors of the year, but you can also read something written by Ala Gorani. So this balance is really important for us. And also to work with Norman Jean Roy, that shoots the covers of American Vogue and American Vanity Fair. It was something that we were super proud, and this was both two accomplishments that we just had very recently. Amazing.
Gosh, well, congratulations on bringing these incredible talents to the table. I wanted to talk about this year, 2026. It's all been very confusing. Various special issues, themes, focuses. What have you got for us?
Well, the first thing that we are super excited is that we are bringing back, in a similar but a little bit different, the concept of the Ball of Arabia. It's going to be on April. I don't remember if it's 16 or 17, but it's 16 or 17. We are still going to rebrand it and have a different name, but it's basically that moment that really all the ecosystem of Vogue comes together, and where we have the most elevated, glamorous, fabulous guests, but always with a very important cause behind. So this year we are going to do a ball dedicated to the link between art and fashion, and we are going to offer scholarships to people that cannot have access to art education. So this is the end goal with this ball. we are also going to work with incredible golf artists to help us to curate not only a very immersive experience in the venue, but also special digital covers for the event. We have also something very cool happening for Ramadan. We are hosting a suhoor in Sharjah in collaboration with Sheikh Abu Dur Al Qasimi, which also is a moment that we are quite proud of. What else? It's going to be a very busy year. We have the launch of the Arabic website. So until now, the website has been only in English. So we are doing now the Arabic website that will have completely different content. It's not going to be just a replica of the English website. And I would say that these are three standouts that we are quite excited with.
And special editions, watches and jewellery, that sort of thing?
Special editions, that's also an ongoing topic for us, but we have a very strong interest in watches and jewellery. We started a watches and jewellery supplement last year that was very successful to celebrate the 10 years of Dubai Watch Week. We will do it again, and this is paired with a format that is actually quite revolutionary in the world of magazines, and it's actually going to be now started to be recreated in other Condé Nast magazines. Okay. It's called Jewelry Decoded, and the way to explain it in a very simple way, it's a talk show about jewelry where we have a host and we have a guest, and they speak about high jewelry in a very informal way. They try the pieces, but there's also a lot of history behind, and this is something that we do on our website. The episode has around 10 minutes, but then we have cuts for Instagram of around 1 minute. I think that even for the brands, it's super important to find ways to communicate their product in an informal, entertaining way to the young audience. Who is consuming now, and who is the people that have the phone in the hands? Well, basically all of us, but the younger generation has a very strong relationship with the phone and what they see on the phone. So we are trying to approach these very serious topics in a more informal way, that it's still informative, to try to target these younger audiences.
Oh, great. Well, is that has launched already, or is that?
This is ongoing already. Okay, we are preparing now the second season.
Okay, perfect. And then other vertical sectors, travel, anything sort of we should know? There's quite a few sort of hotel groups in the room. Are there specific ways they can work with you? Yeah,
we have a lot of, we've been doing a lot with tourism boards. We've just done a very big campaign with RIA. We are working with the Uzbekistan tourism. We worked with Desert Walk. So we do a lot of like marketing and comms related to hotels. It's a topic that for us it's important editorially already. We have a living section, so we are always covering restaurants, hotels, all of it. But we also, through the power of Vogue, we are able to really to amplify the messages of, we work a lot with Jumeirah Group, we do events, we host events, we create video content. So this is something that we do and that does really well, because we are able to, through that 1.7 million followers and those 18 million views that we have in some videos, to really to spread the message about hospitality and about the new hotels that are opening in the region. And you know that hospitality here in the region, it's so competitive that it's also very important for the hotel brands to have the right partners, because I think that you guys agree with me, there's always a new opening. I think every day there's always a new restaurant. People ask me, where should I go for dinner? I'm like, I don't know.
And in terms of sort of other things set in the diary, the June Saudi edition is annual. Any others that we have?
Our annual Saudi issue, like you said, it's in June, yes. And then of course our September issue, that is always a big success. And March, which is also our anniversary issue, just before the Vogue Arabia.
Okay, so quite a lot to do in 2026.
Yeah. Actually I should be running back to the office.
Few more minutes, just bear with me. We've got just a few more questions. So, thinking about the commercial element of Vogue Arabia, obviously, this intersection of creativity and business, there must also be a sort of challenging tussle between the two. How does that balance work?
It's not challenging, to be honest. For me, it's a pleasure to work with my commercial colleagues. Some of them are here. We are, yes, a media house, but we are not a charity, we are a pro-profit publication, right? So the magic of what we do is to also, I have to say, that we really, really have the privilege to work with the best brands in the world. Some of them are here in this room. So it's really not a challenge. It's all about cooperation, and there's always the right way to do it right. You also need to be very honest with the reader. And what is advertising should be signaled as, or a partnership should be signaled as a partnership. at Vogue, everything that we do, because we are proud of these collaborations. For us, it's not a problem to do a shoot with Chanel or with Cartier. We are proud of it. So everything is marked, everything is very transparent, and it's needed because we have to, to pay the bills basically. So it's important to work with brands, and the job of the editor nowadays is to create this relationship and really to make it work for both sides.
Perfect. And do you feel that there are untapped opportunities that brands should be aware of for the work within the whole ecosystem of Vogue Arabia?
Yeah, I think that experiential, it's something that brands should also to rely more on Vogue, because we do bring a very interesting group of people together. The curation of our events is always very elevated, and we are able to create something very, very unique. And also video. I think that, of course, print, we already know that we do work with the best teams and the result is always very interesting. But I think that video is also something that I don't see that there's that investment from brands, and video should be there. What we do at Vogue, and this is always what we suggest to brands, is to really to work on a 360 package that really is what serves better the brand, where there's something in print, something on the website and on social, and if there's an experiential part, this is really the golden ticket.
Yeah, exactly, the full 360. Are there particular things that you think the best brand partnerships utilise? How can brands sort of get it right?
I can tell you about a couple of collaborations that we've done that for me were very nicely done and I was very proud to produce. One, we did a full Vogue edition for Van Cleef & Arpels, and this happened when they opened their salon in Dubai Opera, and we've done something that was very special because, first of all, the full edition was dedicated to this brand, about different projects that they had, but we were also able to shoot the cover of this supplement with the great-granddaughter of Queen Nazli from Egypt, and we asked her to wear the necklace of Queen Nazli, the very iconic Van Cleef & Arpels necklace. It was kind of like of an Inspector Gadget, Poirot kind of like job to find this lady. She accepted, and to have the great-granddaughter of the Queen wearing the necklace of the Queen on the cover was really something that still gives me a little bit of goosebumps. And once again, it was authentic, it was something that was elevated but not celebrity, it was very chic, niche but with very strong impact. So I think that was something that we did that was really good. Also, not because Jihan is here, but I was very proud of what we've done with 100 years of Chanel No. 5, where we've done a video with different women from the region that kind of like represented the different pillars of Chanel No. 5. And it was really beautiful to see the diversity of women coming together to celebrate this iconic fragrance. And this was actually a kind of like of a 360 thing that we've done, where there was like a beautiful shoot, but then a video that we loved.
Well, I need to see this. It sounds amazing. Final couple of questions. How do you see the Vogue Arabia role evolving over the next couple of years?
Like I was telling you before, and people always ask me, oh, now you guys are at Condé Nast. What is it different? It's not really nothing very different, to be honest. I think that we've been consistent across the years. What we do now is a continuation of the work that we've done. Yes, with some differences, but the pillars of being authentic, the pillars of supporting local designers, telling the stories of the region, and really offer the best platform for our partners, they are still there. Like I said, the way that you cook the cake, the ingredients always change a little bit, but it's just a continuation of the very successful work that we've been doing.
Perfect. And casting you 10, 15, 20 years, however long, and beyond, what legacy would you hope to leave at Vogue Arabia?
Well, I hope that I will be on a desert beach drinking a daiquiri in 15 years.
I'm coming right behind you.
No, I mean, I just hope that people feel that the content that we produced, that was really meaningful. And I do feel that we really, with some of these covers, that we created really cultural moments that I think that will be forever in the history or of pop culture in the Arab world, like the princess driving, the first cover with an hijabi model. These are moments that really, we have sometimes, I get blown away. The other day we did a cover with Rihanna and she was wearing the hat of Queen Nefertiti, and this cover was in the Victoria and Albert Museum. And for me to go to the museum and to see the cover that we worked on, you know, I'm like, did we really do this?
Yeah,
you know?
You should be really proud. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. We have a bit of a tradition at LCC where we ask one particular question to all of our guests. So, Manuel Arnaut, what is your ultimate luxury?
My ultimate luxury, you know, coming from a country like Portugal, where I have to say that even having like an amazing job, you do struggle. I think that my current life, where I'm able to, yes, of course, that we work day and night, it's tough, but living a life that allows me to be independent and to really to be self-sufficient and to make my own decisions, and if I want to go here or go there, I can without being worried with anything else. I think that that's really my ultimate luxury. I know that a lot of people would say it's to have time to spend with your family. Yes, all of that is also important, but I would have to say that for me in this moment in time, and coming from a kind of like difficult work environment before, I think that having this job is really what keeps me grounded, and that I think that it's a luxury.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been a wonderful conversation.